Right, welcome back. Another On the Ramp episode.
You doing the intro?
Well, that was the start of it.
Welcome back to the On the Ramp podcast. No, go on, you do it.
Forget it. No, I don't want
Well, here we are. Welcome to the On the Ramp podcast. What is this episode, Nathan?
It is our first year anniversary.
It is.
It is almost been 12 months to the date exactly where we sat down and thought.
What was the day?
17th of April.
I think that I've just looked. I think that was the very first recording that we did.
Yeah, so 17th of April, 2024. We had a crazy idea of just going, let's try and make this industry slightly better than what we left it. And we've been quite overwhelmed, haven't we, by the attention that we've...
It's been good fun, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been really good fun.
I think back to that first episode, it was a bit nervy, a bit twitchy, didn't know what we were doing, but
Nothing's changed.
just it was just a case of record it, put it out and see what happens. And yeah, it's been really good.
And we've had some amazing guests along the way, lots of cool stories.
Good feedback from people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've recorded 30 episodes. That's 30 people who have spent a good chunk of time out of their business to come and speak to us.
It's took a day out for them at least, hasn't it? I know every one of them's took a day out of their time, which is massive in this day and age. Managed to get a few sponsorships along the way
which has been pretty cool. Thank you to both the sponsors that really helps us. We're not doing this for financial reasons, but it is expensive.
Very.
And having those partners on board has helped us out.
Yeah.
And thank you to the listener for engaging.
Most important.
And subscribed and tunes in every week, which...
And it's surprising the amount of people you speak to that in the industry that are listening, have listened.
And it's just like people that are so outside of what I would know as my sort of conscious circle that are being impacted
it's not
by
just
it.
business, it's technicians, staff,
students,
suppliers,
colleges.
Yeah.
And we do encourage people to get in touch. Contact us. If you see us at an event, come and say hello, come and speak to us, because we do get a lot of feedback, but I get way more feedback in person when I bump into somebody.
And it gives us, we have such surreal moments after. We'll stand next to each other. It's like, someone spoke to you. It's like, It's like, so for us, it's so cool that if you're watching, to come and see that, because that gives us such a warm feeling. That's more the reason why we do it again and again, isn't it?
100%.
Rather than any potential financial reward that ever might be in front of us, it's just more. That's more the feeling that keeps us real.
And it's knowing that it's become like, to some people it's just a routine listen now.
Yeah.
And to some people, they've taken that. Some of the guests have provided so much value, completely free of charge, told their story, their learnings, and people have learned from that, which is really cool.
Implemented it into the business.
Implemented it, yeah.
Made more money.
Also, it's quite nice, I find, just to have a different day as well for me. Just come out and...
Instead of buying a business, come and record something.
Yeah. Loads of time, so...
Yeah. Well, here's to many more years.
Yeah, absolutely. So, business update. I started last time. So, Alex, you're going to start this time.
We'k you.
Talk us through where you were last time.
So, I think last time we spoke, we were in negotiation with taking it. I think we're in negotiation with acquiring a business. Oh, there's quite a bit happened, actually.
Has there?
Yeah, there is.
Has there?
So, we're in negotiation to buy a business. We lost out on that business, as you do sometimes. So, we got quite deep into conversation. We went to see them, went around the site, met the owner, then an agent got involved. And we got into a silent bid, and we didn't bid enough.
It's sold.
It's sold. So you don't win them all, which was pretty painful at the time, but that is just a reality of the situation. We have made much more of a conscious effort to move towards fleet now. So fleet's come up a lot in this conversation, a lot in this podcast. We spoke to lots of people who do fleet.
Big thing at One Tech as well, wasn't it?
It was a huge thing at the One Tech event. Awesome event, by the way.
That was mega. Really good.
And Tim, shout out to Tim.
Shout out.
The fleet guy. So we'll be getting, we did a Your Garage episode, which went down a treat. We got to eat carbonara.
Some carbonara.
Some of the perks.
I've been knocking that at least 2 or 3 times a week since, and I take all the credit for it.
I thought you were looking a bit barrel-shaped.
Absolutely not, no. Leaning 15, that's what we'll call it.
But Tim's launching a consultancy service around fleet. Very misunderstood. I'm absolutely guilty of that. We dipped our toe in fleet, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, went down the one link, got stung, hated it, turned my back on it.
It's just so misunderstood.
That's the regular story, isn't it? With the one link thing.
It is, massively. But for context, fleetguy.co.uk is the website that you need to visit. Connect with Tim on any social, and you'll find a link to that as well on there. He's hosting what is pretty much a webinar for free in regards to how you can do fleet better.
Yeah.
And that's happening on the 1st of May.
And if you haven't seen the Your Garage episode where we go around his place
Yeah.
and you're interested in fleet, go watch that episode because Tim has the authority to speak about fleet.
He is Mr. Fleet, yeah. So, give him a shout out. But you weren't giving fleet.
So we weren't doing fleet. So we've it's been on our radar for quite a while. Again, this is through learning from other garages. You two have been into fleet for quite some time. We were dead against it. I've come round to the idea based on just learning from other garages. At the same time, I think we were struggling with vehicle sales.
Yeah.
Because the vehicle sales is now closed.
Right.
So this is the first time in our history that we've backed away from something, which is very difficult to do.
But after it's gone, how do you feel now you've done it?
Difficult from what perspective?
Pride.
Yeah.
So how many times do you hang your hat on something and then how hard is it to back away?
So it didn't work.
Yeah. We gave it a good shot. We know what mistakes that we made. Ultimately, we sat down as a board and essentially just had a vote. It's been that industry. There's no secret that it's been challenging for the last 12 months.
Yeah.
So a really good period after COVID, very inflated prices, and then we've been battling with declining values of used cars, and lots of people have been stung with it. And if you look in the news, there's quite a few independent dealers that have actually closed down.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we didn't rely on it. We had a really beautiful unit, 5,000 square foot unit, which just coincided with, well, if we close it, we can very quickly turn it around and open a fleet centre. So it was essentially 3 months from closing to opening.
So is it open now?
Yeah, it's open now. So we've got a commercial centre.
Yeah.
Again, after speaking to Ed, he was on Ed's episode.
Me.
Was it you?
Yeah.
What a business.
Yeah.
And I remember he said something which stuck with me, and it was, if I could start again, I'd just open a commercial
just vans.
garage, just vans.
Yeah.
And I spoke to him at the One Tech event and just said, look, that's absolutely part of that piece of knowledge was absolutely one of the reasons why we pushed into commercial and fleet.
Just want to just reaffirm, how did you feel the moment after you've closed it and it was done? How did you feel then?
Relief.
Yeah, the best, isn't it?
And I remember speaking to my dad afterwards, and it was like, we know, like the staff involved. It's a really horrible conversation. But when something is bleeding and it didn't fold into the future plans. No one was in love with it because we've been in so much pain with it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to let people down. You don't want the brand damage. You don't like.
No passion behind it.
You're possibly letting people down by keeping it going, though, is probably the thing that you realise after it's done. You're like, I was actually letting more people down by keeping it going at that.
You're probably right.
Than you are after. And it's such a freeing feeling, letting go of something.
Well, it was that. It was one of the hard decisions we made. We made the decision and then got into action of just fixing it.
Done.
We're still in a bit of pain with some of the warranties and stuff, but that's going to sort of wash through.
Yeah.
But within 3 months, we'd opened a commercial centre that's bringing in GP.
Yeah.
So we're already seeing the upshot of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the final part for us so the good news in terms of expansion, we lost that one that we were in negotiation with, which I actually thought we were going to get, but we are with solicitors, deal accepted now with another site. So by the time we speak again, I really hope that next site has come online.
That's cool. And what site number would that be?
That will be site 12 if you consider the commercial site site 11.
Okay.
It's cracking high street location.
Amazing.
Like it's got all the DNA of
Is it Nottingham by any chance?
It is.
Oh, that's unusual.
But further out.
Yeah.
And how long's that been going on for? What's the...
A couple of months. Yeah, 2 or 3 months.
It's such an unbelievable model you got, mate, because you've just dominated a city, and
it's got its ups and it's got its downs.
Yeah.
The ups are that, generally speaking, we've got a very positive brand perception across Nottingham. So if we used to open a site somewhere, you bring in a lot of weight behind it, a lot of marketing power, a lot of authority on SEO and Google, etc. Difficult from a recruitment perspective because we have the most amount of technicians in Nottingham out of any employer, and you are sort of saturating.
Yeah.
It's just harder, isn't it? Because you need more from a smaller space. We haven't always got it right. So our reputation across all the branches in some areas hasn't been great, which is something, we face into. We've made mistakes.
Yeah.
We've never shied away from it. That's something you've got to work on. So when all of your eggs are in one basket, you get the rough with the smooth.
And there's been an operational change as well.
Yeah, so the biggest change, so last time we were speaking, it was that we had a consultant come into the business, someone external. And I cannot stress how important it is. Even there'll be people looking at inwards from the outside into Lindleys thinking that we've got our shit together. And we're smashing it. But the truth is there was so much that we didn't know. And even when we got up to 10 sites and seemingly successful from the outside in, there was a lot of problems internally, process problems, business structure problems. So we brought this external person in who immediately just knew the answers. And how do you learn that?
Experience,
from experience. You can read it in a book, you can theorize it, you can watch it on YouTube, but
you
actually
have to test and learn. But if you can just bring it in,
bring that external consultant in.
Yeah.
Swallow your pride and just get it in. And we got this person in. This person's name is Paul, and I'm pleased to say that as of last week, he is now our managing director. So that was, he came in as a consultant. He immediately got to work, particularly with the senior team.
Yeah.
Because again, to be fair to the senior team, they've not exactly had the best guidance and coaching from me because I've not been entirely available because of the other things that have been going on. He came in and offered that straight away and had knowledge that I didn't have and understood their roles better than I understood their roles. So that just started working really well. Then naturally they start going to him with scenarios. So it ends up being, do you want me to answer what I would do in these scenarios? Because I'm a consultant, I'm not their manager.
Yeah.
So we just went down this sort of 6-month journey of actually, he's just becoming quite operational now. And then we had the conversation because we absolutely wanted him to stay.
Yeah.
He agreed to stay, and it was like, so what role are you going to be going into? And then that conversation happened, and we played that out, and it was essentially call a spade because the role that you are doing is you are managing the directors.
Yeah.
Now that for me is a bit of a step change because it's a role that I've been in now for 7 years, even though I've probably not been doing the role as I should have been doing the role. It was still quite a big deal for a family business to move more towards.
So you've kind of already transitioned away from that role prior to that anyway, haven't you?
Probably emotionally before
that's
you
the reality.
Yeah.
Physically, but not emotionally.
Your day to day hasn't been necessarily MD role then for a little bit as such.
I'd say
it's not like you've gone from last week to just completely changing what you're doing. You've kind of slowly transitioned into your role now as such anyway, haven't you?
Yeah, you're right, because when we announced the role, nothing changed.
Yeah.
It was BAU.
Yeah.
Like, and people have asked me like, oh, how's the new role? And it's like, well, it's actually now what I am doing and what I have been doing, and it gives me it sets the expectation internally within the business that if he's the managing director, why is he not managing the data? Like, why is he not there? Why am I not seeing him that much? And with what's going on with Garage Hive and launch and on the ramp and all the other stuff that's going on, it just wasn't fair to Lindleys. I'm still involved from like a strategic perspective and like a branding image perspective, and
you're like top of funnel now.
And the bigger, broader strategic decision I'm still absolutely involved in. I'm still there for the board, and none of that's changed. That is all absolutely the same. But now I feel like the pressure's been lifted because that operational expectation is not there, and it's in hands that I trust more than my own.
Yeah.
What he bought, it definitely made me reflect on what my strengths are. Because when you do bring that really talented external person into the company and you realise, hang on a minute.
Yeah,
you see your weaknesses.
There's levels to it.
Yeah, and it's like you go through this self-awareness journey, and it's just been awesome. It's been great. So business is really strong. Q1 was a massive record for us. March was a 23% growth on gross profit.
Wow.
Across the whole company. That includes closing vehicle sales.
Yeah.
So like the step up in performance is so significant. And I put so much of that down to engagement, staff engagement, training, internal training.
Just fix so many processes that you didn't know how to fix before as well.
Also probably having someone to focus on the time on that.
Yeah. What in this, you mean from Paul's perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what he's done, I wouldn't say it's focused his time on that. He's focused everyone else on that.
Yeah, what I mean is it's someone being able to have time in the business to focus on those things.
Yes.
He's been the person to keep everyone
You
accountable.
could have done an element of that, but you just wouldn't have had the time to do it.
Yeah.
And obviously, again, he's also a very good guy at doing that as well. So.
Yeah, he's got he's focused. You know, he is very focused on that, and he's not distracted by this.
So fluffy.
Well, it's hard when you,
as an example.
Yeah, when you are growing a business to try and also be in the business, so to speak, rather than on the business. You know, it is really hard, isn't it? You can't really do both.
It's incredibly difficult.
And but then it's odd. But you can't. You know, what's more important? And if you grow, then those roles can come in afterwards. Whereas it's hard to put those roles in first, then grow.
Yeah.
There's always that you kind of got to run before you can walk to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So that pretty much brings me.
And there's nothing else in the pipeline at the minute. Just
we're working on there's a couple of pieces of software. So we're always looking to. There's always problems, and around fleet, we're working on a piece of software for fleet, and the idea of this software is from a Lindleys perspective. We want to be able to go to our customers.
Right.
To take an SME.
Yeah.
With a privately owned fleet. Mm-hmm. We want to be able to approach them and give them an absolute no-brainer proposition to come and use Lindleys.
Yeah.
That's from service availability, that's really competitive price, technology, skills, customer service, and then wrapping all of that into an IT solution. Yeah. So we're building a piece of software that will allow them to manage their fleet. Mm-hmm. And I understand that some companies will have their own fleet management software, but we're aiming for the companies that don't have fleet management software, and that will then connect them to Lindleys all the way through that chain.
Yeah.
So it's a piece of software they can log in, add their fleet to, and they can see service history. They can see when it's due a service, when it's due an MOT. Mm-hmm. A really cool piece of technology we're working on as well is the ability to see vehicle telemetry in this software. So we're running it now as an experiment on our own fleet, so I can see things like live mileage, battery status, EOBD, if there's any faults. Just say mile per gallon, etc.
Are you going to be selling this software?
It was never built in mind to sell, but whenever I've spoke to someone about it, that sounds really interesting. It's built in a way that Lindleys are paying for this product to be developed now, and if the demand is there, then I will essentially buy the software off Lindleys into the software company and then distribute it. So. We'll see. It's built very specifically to our needs. But if those needs transfer to other garages, then
it's a no-brainer.
I
mean, it should be good for our rental department.
Possibly. So that's
especially your long-term rentals as well.
Yeah, and then the final thing is the gross profit calculator, which lots of people use. If you've not used it, just colaunch.co.uk/GP. It allows you to set your costs, and it will give you a gross profit target, an efficiency target, etc. We're trying to build that into a product as well. So much slicker than the Excel spreadsheet, just a piece of software that you can continuously work with, essentially. So there's a few things going on.
I like that.
But all good.
Any integration to Garage Hive with that?
I don't think we'll integrate, but we will create an export that you can import straight into Garage Hive for your GP calculator. For your gross profit targets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so instead of now at the minute you have to export it, and then we should be able to create an export where you can go straight from that into.
If you do it the other way around to kind of like check your costs or something.
Oh, I see what you mean. Possibly. It's a work in progress.
That's another idea.
It's a work in progress. Yeah.
Leo.
But I guess there is a budget feature in Garage Hive anyway you could use for that.
Yeah, but that's super advanced. I think the GP calculator allows, you don't have to have any fundamental understanding of finance. Yeah. But you can set a target. So that's me. I've gone 3 minutes over. Leo, over to you.
Leo.
Oh,
no, Leo. What have you bought?
I can't remember what I said last time, to be fair. I think last time we moved the body shop.
You've just taken over the Ford dealership.
Dealership,
yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So since then, the Synergy site, start of January, so we opened a new, where the body shop moved out of, it left the empty premises.
Yeah.
And the rent was quite good on that premises, so I thought I need to do something with it.
That's we did your garage at that one.
Yes, done your garage there, and that was the Synergy Autocentres site, which is branded with HiQ as well. So we opened that in January.
How's your relationship been with HiQ?
All right. Yeah, we don't really have much interaction with them, to be fair.
Okay.
Our area manager and probably the branch manager speak to them more than what I do, but it's not there's not much.
They just leave you to it.
Yeah, pretty much. And I guess it's all quite.
Is it more of a branding exercise?
Yeah. I think I covered it off in that.
So and then you've got you've got the site that you've switched over and Cov
Yes.
And then you've just took another.
Yeah, so we've just bought in Solihull a business, about 10,000 square foot premises, 10, 12 ramps, something like that, I think it is. They only literally just did that 2 weeks ago, so that's very much new. And we're going to brand that as Lindleys Autocentres, but probably not high Q.
Okay.
So yeah.
Is that just like a test to see?
Well, the main reason for high Q at Lincoln was because it was a brand new site. I wanted to see what support high Q would bring with the marketing. But we've been quite active our own marketing.
How is that?
anyway.
So just so if people don't know, we did a Your Garage. I know we mentioned it, but so we've come around, we've filmed a full episode out where we go into great detail. And one of the things that we were quite keen on is this is a fresh site.
Yeah.
So Greenfield, is it called Greenfield?
Green site.
Just green site.
Yeah, green site. How has that been? Because that's a challenge.
Yeah, well, I said I was going to document that monthly, which I haven't got around to doing yet. It's grown months, so we had January, February, March so far. I think March we just did about £19,000 gross profit, which covers the costs just about.
Was that March?
Yeah, it's quieting down now because we're in a bit of a national kind of drop, aren't we, from looking at
If you look at garage industry trends, it's clear to see we're on
Yeah.
a decline now for the next week or so.
And I've not focused enough on marketing. And kind of, it's like we started off quite strong and we got busy quite quickly. So then it's kind of like you take your foot off the gas a little bit. So we've just
Apply the pressure again.
reapplied pressure again, and we've got a marketing meeting next week, and part of that is I want to start mind dumping my mind onto Rachel and Andy. Andy's not in the marketing team, but he's our CCO, so he's responsible for it to a degree. Just try to get everybody on the same wavelength of how marketing is, and rather than sometimes in marketing, when you involve other people in the business, everyone has ideas, but I want to kind of go, right, what we're trying to achieve, and then work backwards.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to achieve. So will that idea help that achievement? Probably not. And often it's things like, people talk about a winter check, a summer check, a aircon bomb off, all this sort of stuff. It's like they've got their place depending on what you want to achieve. So, and we know now what marketing works. So rather than doing a bit of TikTok, doing a bit of Instagram, doing a bit of Facebook, doing a bit of PPC SEO, and then some leaflets, let's just pick on the ones that we know work and run with them continually. Because otherwise we find that we do a bit of some Facebook ads for a couple of months, and then we don't do anything for a little while, and then we do something else. So we know what works now. And obviously you can't...
That's your 80-20, don't you? So 80% on stuff that you know that works, and have you 20% for testing and learning. Yeah.
How's the retention been
of
the customers at your new high Q site?
We don't know yet.
Probably not
It's
long
only
enough, is it?
3 months in, aren't we?
Retention's the wrong word. Customer satisfaction.
Brilliant.
And I'd say you
like
really focused.
it's been like 90 MPS.
Oh, has it really?
That's really
to
good.
100.
Yeah, that's really strong.
Average invoice value is lower than I'd like it to be, so that's something we're looking into. We started doing a thing where every day we send out an email to all of the departments and branches with our KPIs. We have about 10 KPIs. So every day now we're updating that and sending it out on an email with the kind of run rates of where we're at based on target.
Okay.
And
That's
we just had one of our best, I think it was a best month collectively for all the departments. Normally out of, say, you've got 8 departments, I'm talking not just service departments here, you've got van rental, van sales, body shop. Normally there's always 1 or 2 which aren't great, and then the ones are, but this March, everything was kind of like fairly good. So and I think a lot of that's down to just people knowing what they need to achieve and continually remind them every day of that. So,
and in your senior team, you've had some changes, haven't you?
Yeah, so we recruited Andy, who joins the Chief Commercial Officer, and that was based on, I looked at that role and what that role kind of does for the business, and that's why we went for that role rather than kind of.
What's his background?
So he actually worked for us before as a consultant. Actually, in 2020, did 6 months for us. He's dealer background mainly. He used to do some consultancy work, hence we did some for us. Where he'd go into other service departments and look at what they're doing. But yeah, he's been kind of like head sort of service departments, big dealer groups. He's had lots of branches under his belt, basically. He's responsible for kind of like 20 or so different branches and things like that. So, but he's very he's old school, people person. So we'll just go around and chat and talk. Whereas I was more email because you got that much to do.
You couldn't be visible.
Yeah, so he's much more visible.
So we'd say engagement's high then.
Yeah, it's still quite early because he's only been with us a couple of months, but he had like 2 weeks on holiday.
Right.
And it's amazing. We always have this when you get a new role. He's just like instantly completely busy. But then you've always got.
There's a lot to be said for that, isn't it? Do I need that person? And they come in sprinting.
yeah, literally, he's come in and there's just loads to do, and you get things in the way. You're trying to. The idea of that role is to progress, but then you have a member of staff leave, or you're recruiting, and you get. Sometimes there'll be a HR thing going on. Yeah, there'll be fires. So it's kind of like he's making kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's just being in business, isn't it? That's running the day to day of the site. So,
go back to your new site then, Solihull site.
Yeah.
So massive business. You've taken it on. You mentioned that you're not going down the high Q route, but you've got for the listener, you've got this secondary company Synergy.
Yeah.
Which is where some of the high Q sites.
So we've got 3 locations now. So we've got Solihull, Coventry, and Lincoln.
So what is it just to test? Is it just a test of not branding it as a high Q site, or is it because it is an existing?
Is it because they get deeper as well?
Mainly because it's existing, but also this site. So to add some context, I only found out about it like 3 weeks ago when we bought it within 12 or 13 days because of the situation of the business. And I think it's an existing business, and they were recovering quite a good hourly rate. And my thoughts were, being completely honest, with high Q. The one thing with high Q is then they could be compared to other high Qs, and if we're way more expensive, it's like, why are they more expensive?
So you just see it as a different value proposition.
You want to set the tone for Synergy for what you want it to be.
Yeah, and I've now decided I want Synergy, because with Lincoln, I didn't want Synergy to clash with our Dack site. But I've now realised that I do want Synergy to be like a premium service centre.
Because my question was going to be, why would you consider branding it Dack?
I did think, I've thought about it. So what the plan is now is that rather than Synergy being this brand that sits on its own, Synergy Autocentres will be a Dack Group company. So then that's how we'll promote it. So when we're talking about it, it's going to be Synergy Autocentres, this is a Dack Group company. So when we send out, we've not let the customers know about this yet, and because we're away on holiday next week after that, we'll be sending it out, text to all the customers with a link to our Dack Motor Group website with a page we've built on there with the Synergy branding, talking about what it is. And I think that just adds loads more authority to kind of that brand then, and people can see what it's part of.
Well, when they research, they immediately see a lot of history.
Yeah, and we're doing the same thing with the Central Garage. So Central Garage now, it's sort of still Central Garage, but part of the Dack Group. And we're at a point now where we can start to leverage on suppliers and things. So like we have one supplier for our scrap, one supplier for our phone systems, one supplier for our IT systems. So when we're taking a new site on, it's kind of like we move them into that.
It's like the blueprint goes on.
Just plug things in then.
How has Central Garage been?
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
So I think when we last spoke, how long you had it?
About a year now.
Oh, is it?
It'll be a year in May, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think when we did our first podcast, it was on the boil.
Was that right?
Yeah, I think it's on the boil then. I think
maybe on the last business update, it was your high Q one.
Yeah.
You were just opening.
Yeah.
Now you just turn the heat up quicker, so now you can talk about sites that was only just opening, so you can talk about them and ones that you've done in between.
So you've still got it all going on.
So what's that? 6 sites now altogether, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
he doesn't even know, does he?
No. It's one monster out of them 6.
Yeah, well, Lincoln kind of always throws that off a little bit because the Lincoln site is
3 businesses.
Yeah, 3 businesses. Yeah, it's very, very busy. Like this Solihull one, again, timing wasn't really right, but it never is, and it's an opportunity we had to kind of.
It never is, but you get more of a runway. I've never seen a deal go through in a week. You went from not knowing to acquiring.
I messaged you on a day, didn't I? When I got that message,
less than 2 weeks.
Going to go for it.
And it's like when you think about the volume of stuff. Like I can't stress if you're taking over a business, the checklist that you have to go through.
Yeah, and this has been we've bought the base of the ramps. Whereas Central Garage buying the shares made me realize how easy that was. This is like you're just constantly thinking of new things. Like, oh yeah, there's that. So yeah, we've kind of got like a big to-do list, a big planner board at the minute, and yeah, it's
all in your 200 unread emails that we've seen this morning.
With the AI that's not working.
AI, that does work.
It clearly doesn't.
Clearly.
And how about so obviously in the last Your Garage you mentioned the consultancy.
Oh yeah. So I kind of launched that based on the Your Garage video that we filmed.
Mm-hmm.
Had a handful of clients sign up to that, so I'm doing that on a one-to-one basis, not doing the monthly thing yet. And what I've realised is when you're talking to people, everyone's on their own journey.
Yeah.
So trying to do a monthly webinar, I don't think they'll be able to add value yet. That's still something that will become later on down the line.
So it's almost like a tailored program to the person based on the state that they're in.
Yeah, I'm just saying, when I'm having talked to people, I'm kind of saying what I'm doing is like, what's the core area focus? And I think it's important that we have that, so that's the kind of the main goal you want to, what good looks like in, say, 5-6 months' time of working together. But then on the back of that, there's obviously all the other elements that come out of general day-to-day.
So this is leodack.com.
Yes.
Are you looking for more clients?
No. I've not turned anyone away yet, but I feel like I'm kind of almost at that stage. I'm doing them on a 6-month kind of gentleman's agreement. So it might be that if someone gets interest, if I get interest now, because I've had a chat with them, and I'm now working out who the right customer is to work with me as well. So if somebody wants to grow the business, basically, I think is the main thing. If you want to grow the business, that's what works best with me, where I can add most value. So it might be that kind of, almost a bit of a waiting list. So as we get towards the 6-month period.
Or identifying if they are the right fit.
Yeah, it's definitely, So the first thing is have a chat first, making sure that I can add value, because that initial call isn't about me trying to sell to you. It's about understanding where you are now. Can we work together? Because there's no point in,
no, it don't work for anyone,
journey.
does it?
Yeah.
It's got to bring value to it.
Got to
time's up. Oh, how's life? How are you balancing it all?
All right. Like I say, the Solihull thing's definitely made me extra busy at the minute, but I just see it as a peak of, I've peaked my workload and I've just got to kind of like bring it back down.
Come back down from that mountain.
So going away on holiday next week isn't kind of ideal, but I think what I'm going to do is
take your laptop.
No, a week away. The week we get back, I've got to go to the Ford site one day. I'm going to basically have a week working from home solidly and just kind of catch up on my whole to-do list and emails and things like that. So, because when you do travel, how I normally work is when I get a new site, like the Ford site, I'll kind of go there a fair bit initially for the first couple of months, but I can be so much more productive. If you got 2, 3 or 4 hours a day on travel, it's just a complete waste of time. That is. So the manager's job is to be on the grounds, seeing the people and understanding what's going on kind of on the site. But I can be so much more productive by doing this sort of.
So you need a chauffeur in business with the Starlink.
I have got on my Auto Trader watch list a Mercedes V class, whatever it is. That's my goal.
You're checking that out every week. How good is Starlink, by the way?
Yeah, it's mega.
Levels.
But I'm going to start doing in my diary like site visit days now. So like at least probably be once a month. Because if you don't do that, you can end up being 2 or 3 months without going to the site.
Then,
yeah.
That's cool.
Right, he's eating 3 minutes into your time, mate, so you've got 12 minutes. On the Ramp is very proudly sponsored by Castrol and the race group from Certus Energy. Our own business, Lindleys Autocentres, has been using Castrol products via the race group for at least 10 years. We get our own account manager. They help us set up the oil portfolios across the branches. And there's also someone to ring if we've got any technical queries or general queries. And having that relationship with the account manager, I think, is really important. We get dual branded workwear. So just like what I'm wearing now, we get this free for all members of staff. We get to use the Castrol brand across our entire business. So things like building signage, websites, general marketing, etc. And working with a globally recognized brand like Castrol, I believe, can really elevate your own brand. There's a rewards platform. So for every purchase, we accumulate points that we can redeem against certain items on this reward platform, which is pretty cool. And then there's an integration via our garage management software that allows us to actually see the exact oil product code that should be used in that vehicle, which in today's world and the complexities of oil is actually really helpful. So if you want to learn more about how Castrol can help elevate your business, and you want to learn more about how the Race Group can help you, then please click on the link in the description below. Thank you.
I last time we spoke, I was on the route to become ISO accredited. We absolutely nailed the assessments that period. We got that with there was just like over surprised by how organised we were with everything, which was sort of it was just a really cool feeling, to be honest. But sort of on reflection, we still are from what I can see, the only independent repair company in the country that's on the ISO register. And while that's a good thing in some respects, it's a bad thing because at that point it means nothing to anyone else. So it sort of sent me down a bit of a rabbit hole where I thought I've got to be able to. It's such a great accolade to have as a business to sort of an ISO accreditation. Sort of in my mind, to a consumer, trumps other accreditations, because every other accreditation, while they're still very highly commended, we can tick all them boxes off by having the rounded.
People recognise that.
100%.
They do outside of industry. In industry, I don't think people really understand how much that would do. Yeah, exactly. So that was the reason why I went for it. Now,
shout out to Darren as well.
Darren, my operations manager, has done an absolutely amazing job, and he bleeds out for us in the business daily. Like, he puts himself through absolutely everything he's got to do to be able to do that, and he just helps us out amazingly. So if you haven't connected with Darren on LinkedIn, I would strongly recommend it. He puts out a lot of insights and his thoughts daily, weekly. So he's definitely a good person to follow. Darren Gardner. So he's great. So the thought process was, after we got accredited, is like, how can I possibly, because it was a journey to be able to get to that, and without Darren it wouldn't have been a thing. But even though we've got that, no company can afford really to just take on a Darren and take a punt on thinking that that's the right thing to do. So my thought process is that I want to hopefully come to market with a piece of software which will give a business the tools to be able to go all the way up to ISO accreditation, if so they desire. But the main purpose of this software is to make running, people performance, HR, health and safety, everything that goes on within the business much easier, and run it through one system. Because I think about all the frictions that go on every day, and you're hearing all these pain points of like, I don't have a process for this. I've always been saying that this is broken. I can't, like, holiday request. There's just a spider's web of things that just go wrong all the time and just bog down the main operators of the business. And I used my Gavin as the example of that he spends so much time all day, every day, sorting something which isn't the thing that he should be doing.
Yeah, which could be a process. And
but the thing is, there's no real place for all those things to coexist. And it's one thing having it coexist, because you could just have OneDrive, Google Drive. It's having something that is contextual to the people that are using it every day. And HR softwares, health and safety softwares, there's so much out there that do bits of everything. It remains quite fragmented. So what we're close to getting to is a point of test for us as a business, but then hopefully within a few months following from that, we should be able to take something to market as a sort of like an MVP core offering, where I'll be looking for a few businesses that I can run this process with, to help them understand how we can create a building block system of software for them to run their business more appropriately. And that really is more for the staff more than it is for the business.
So is this like an automotive product?
Initially, yes. My thought process.
I'm assuming that means there'll be like templates in there and actual working processes.
So we were talking about what templates we can offer, and the one thing that is really, really frustrating for lots of business owners is defective equipment. Like, so many people break equipment, and then once that equipment's out of order, they'll tell someone, but it really goes nowhere. What?
We've got, classic example of that in our business.
Yeah.
We have launched an aircon campaign.
Yeah.
And after launching the campaign, we found out the aircon machine's broken at this site.
Yeah.
And then we speak to someone to get a repair. It's 2 weeks away.
Yeah. Because it's coming into the season.
Absolutely ridiculous that's been missed.
So this software will effectively at some point run on a global calendar, where servicing of every piece of equipment will be brought into that calendar, as well as holidays and everything, but they'll be sectioned off appropriately.
Yeah,
So-
and there's the whole what do you call it, test that have to be done every 6 months, like inspection tests, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's your service as well.
And you've got your MOT, CPD,
Calibration,
you've got everything you can think of that we have in our quality management system at the minute. Is still, although we've achieved this ISO accreditation, we were credited for how good and organised that was. I come in with the most amount of self-awareness to go, it still hasn't impacted the main people within the business, the main stakeholder within the business, the employees, as much as I would have hoped, because it's too much of a distance from them in their day. So people have, often on my phones in my place of work, I allow my team to use the garage management system on their phones because it's quicker, it's easier, they can move quicker with it. That although they'll have the garage management system in there, they have no idea how their performance is impacting the business other than the sales that they see after the fact. Whereas I think that the sales is a result of how they set up to perform within the business.
So is the idea then that they would have access to this?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
And then everything that falls outside of the GMS would...
exactly that, yeah. If it's got anything to do with that, and it's got to be live, it's got to be up to date, it's got to keep happening. So it's a monster project.
If you get this right...
Yeah, I mean, it'd be game-changing for so many people.
It's a big question to ask, isn't it? Like, who uses this for processes or for software? And like you say, there's no real... Unless you're a bit of a kind of IT geek coder yourself, there's nothing out there on the box.
It's just, and the thing, it's just so fragmented, and getting people to use it appropriately. And let's say somebody does want to go down the ISO route and they don't want to employ a quality manager, then a quality manager needs to know what system that they've got. You can't afford them to put systems in for you because it gets too expensive. This will allow you to go, a quality manager will know this system because they see it already, so they know how to use it, so you can have agency seats and stuff. So,
but I also think that there is a requirement for it, even if you're not going ISO accredited. Just running the bit, you don't have to have the accreditation.
No, exactly that. No,
so you don't have to go to that level if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But it's the same as like HR. So me and Jen had a great conversation at the One Tech to say that there is a part of what Jen's operation day to day needs, and so we were in sort of light discussions there. So obviously, I don't want to say too much. Not at fear that I don't want somebody to run with the idea. It's more at fear that I don't want to sound like I'm promising something that I won't deliver on, but it's a mammoth project. We've got lots of initial building blocks for it, and it's just working out what comes first, really, within all of that. So
have you got like a developer then, or something?
Yeah. Working really close with a kid at the minute, super intelligent, has worked with Alex quite a lot, and is a big
same guy built Service Split.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
really good.
So it's just work. It's just finding what we need to be able to get to a place of testing with a few businesses, because it's finding businesses that understand that this is layer one, not complete products. So interested in speaking to people that understand to some respect what I'm saying and would be interested in working. So if you are one of those, please reach out. And then the next part is probably just my entrepreneurial spirit in me just got really annoyed about my clothing supply into the business. People would normally just go, I'm going to find a new supplier, whereas I'm just going to become the clothing supplier.
Mm-hmm. As you do.
I like to look good, feel good. And a part of that is
a night out in town that does
look
good, smell
good, feel good, smell good. Part of that was just like everything that I get, it fits me, doesn't fit someone else. Nobody.
So can we get some on the ramp stuff then?
No.
Why?
No, because you had a really nice jacket.
What?
Your Lindleys jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, of course we can get on the ramp stuff. Absolutely.
Carry on that.
Yeah. What on that exact topic?
Yeah. What about it?
What? Your Lindleys jacket.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Can we have gilets?
In here.
Everyone loves a good gilet.
Everyone loves a gilet.
Yeah, like a bright coloured one, because they're all very dark and dull.
Yeah. My idea was just simply that I can do this better.
Is that a commitment to getting some on the ramp, Clubber?
Yeah, I've put it out there now, so I'm going to have to, Anna.
Can you let him speak, please, Alex? Talk about it.
I just want commitment. Skirting around the answer, innit?
Yeah.
Doing a bit of Yulia.
Free as well.
Yeah,
It's like a political answer.
eating into my time here.
Yeah.
We'll
Nothing's free.
We'll advertise it for you for every single podcast we do.
Yeah, thank you.
But
Bit of on the ramp merch.
Yeah, it was one of those that was part of obviously my software is that I've built a ranking system within the team, and I believe that having the skills to do a job is one thing, but having the behaviours to conduct yourself in front of customers is another. So I created a bit of a ranking system. So within my business now, you have 3 tiers. well, there's 5 rankings and there's 3 colours of badge that you can acquire effectively. So like you would have belts in karate, you have coloured badges in Walsall Tyre. So white badge means that you're a level 1 and 2 member of staff. 3, and those 1 or 2 members of staff, I think, will be the ones that are likely to be traded out by either a better member of staff in the future or
IP 20 white badges.
Yeah. Or technology, but at the same
When's
time,
this podcast going out?
Yeah.
How many white badges have you got tomorrow?
all of them at the minute, but everyone's got to start on that journey. So I wrote a code of conduct for everyone and how we are now going to be observing people conduct themselves around the business. So we're looking at how they behave, how they communicate with customers, how they communicate with their peers, how they leave their work areas, what time they turn up, just general everything around them in the business. And then the idea is that when they show us what great looks like and they're helping other people to what great looks like, then they can climb. So it goes.
It's like the McDonald's star thing, then, isn't it?
It's exactly that, and it was like definitely.
Have you got any Delta Force?
No,
wings coming up?
it's just the black badge, which is the Delta Force. You just know that there's something else, and it's quite funny how that come about because when I'm in businesses, typically it's happened ever since I was young. Before Walsall Tyre, that I'd walk around places and people would just look at me and go, "Oh, he obviously works here."
Yeah, I've had that a few times, especially B&Q. I don't know why B&Q.
Yeah, I
It's because you're always there buying
look
power
like a bit-
tools, camper conversion.
Yeah, so people always seem to reflect on me and think that I work places, and so whenever I was at work, I be in my own clothes, and if the customer didn't know me, they still sense that aura of he knows what he's doing, I must talk to him. And I want to try and pass that on to staff, but I want them to know that there's a level that's required to get to that. So I'm almost trying to gamify it to level of staff. Just because you've got a job here doesn't mean that you're reflected on as the best, like a black belt, really. So white logo, grey logo, then black logo. So for me, I can make that.
Who scored you?
Me.
Okay.
Yeah. It's my league.
You got any Tippex?
Pin me down. So I thought that was pretty cool, but obviously that then maybe start to look at clothing and just think that, you know what, clothing needs to be better, because I see so many clothing on staff in this industry and they don't really fit them. They don't wash well. So I was like, I'm going to start doing it myself. So I'm deep in a clothing rabbit hole at the moment.
So are you actually in a position to offer?
Oh yeah. We're supplying quite a few people at the moment. We've got a couple of hopefully big contracts that we can land in that, and that's just going to help me effectively get more power within that side of the industry to say that, you know what, it's really important to me that we take pride in how we present ourselves as leaders and also our team, because they're representing our brand. And I think just shelling out on some reward points that you've got there just because you've got them, and it doesn't mean you spend your money on them, means that it's okay to just chuck them in crap clothing.
So you've done it as well, haven't you? You've actually bought your own clothes and then got them embroidered.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Used to get Lindleys signed up.
Yeah.
Funny, because my dad was like, "Where'd you get that jacket?" I know a guy.
Levels, man. Levels.
He's not cheap.
He's black belt.
He told me the price.
I actually found that
What
jacket somewhere on a competitor website for more expensive.
What with
I was like,
Lindleys?
damn.
What with Lindleys on it?
No, not with Lindleys. No, the jacket with embroidery come up considerably more than what we were. So I was like, damn, I can't believe I'm that cheap.
Come on.
But
You're not charging
Some
me.
people
He's my boy.
I go to the gym with, they're actively looking at buying embroidery businesses at the minute. Businesses.
That's cool.
On sale in
They've
Walsall.
got one in heads of terms at the minute, and they've got like a contract for some rugby something, I think it is.
So do they just reach out to you if they want?
Yeah, just reach
to have a
out.
chat?
I've got a guy
Set
here.
website
I've got
up.
my marketing kid Nathan. Again, another amazing kid that's coming to my business. Heads up, like
Great name.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So we've just employed. Obviously, we've got a Nathan, 2 Nathans. We've just employed another Gavin as well. So we're effectively calling our place Noah's Ark at the minute because they all come in twos.
2 of everything.
Yeah, 2 of everything. As soon as you get a third, then you're in the queue, mate. Sorry. So if you're interested in any clothing, then definitely I can help out with that. And we will offer a really quick turnaround as well. So usually a couple of days. We can usually, if we've got your logo, we can turn it around really fast.
So what about the business?
Oh yeah, we've still got that. Yeah,
The garage.
that's gone.
The garage.
Yeah. I'm sort of the focus has been move to really, really technically focused front of house. They are called service controllers. We have a person for new sales now. So new sales will fill the pipeline for service controllers to do that work, convert it into other stuff because they're technically focused. They know sales. They're great with people. They are aspiring grey and black badge members of staff, and without a doubt, will achieve that in no time. And then we can get that through to the technicians through the workshop and turn it into a great experience. And then we've got our new concept, which I'll be looking to run out in the next year or so, called Vehicle House, which will be my next iteration of what I want my garage, my business to look like.
So that'll be a rebrand.
Yeah, it'll be rebranding into Vehicle House.
Big exercise.
Can't wait. Can't wait for all that pain. Because I'm going to pass it on to everyone else.
Awesome.
Yeah, wicked.
That was quick.
Sounds like you got lots going on there.
We were 4 minutes over. How's life?
Life's really good. In a really good place at the moment. I don't know if I said that I met an amazing girl on a train when I was doing the Ben race across Britain.
Big up Ben.
Yeah, big up Ben. Without them,
Not Ben himself.
Not
but
Ben.
Ben the charity.
Ben the charity. Yeah, the team there effectively, without knowing, hooked me up with my partner.
So this was the you had to travel across the country, didn't you?
So it's Race Across Britain. Basically, what they do is they take everything off you. They give you a burner phone and a debit card. And I wear golf attire, but on this particular day, I was wearing a golf bucket hat. And we started. The first day was Tamworth, Birmingham, then up to Newcastle, stay overnight. And they said, like, instructions are coming at 7:15, and he's looking at the map. He's like, right, we're going to be in Scotland. It's the Race Across Britain. Must mean we're going to Scotland. Had a gamble. Text come in, get to Glasgow. As okay, sound. Jumped on the first train that we could, just because I saved some money with the overnight because I blagged the free stay in the Nando's on the first night. So we
Stayed in a Nando's?
No, we managed to get a Nando's for dinner for free and get a stay at a hotel.
How the hell did you get Nando's for free?
You know, what can you say?
That's
yeah. So I had some. We had a bit of money to burn, if anything. So we jumped on a train. There was no first class upgrades available, unfortunately. So we just jumped in the regular carriage. The lad I was with jumped, sat down. I was last to get down. Just sat down in the spare seat. I was like, oh, that's quite a nice girl there. Sat down. Went, couldn't borrow your phone, could I? Because I had a burner phone. I put a tracking link on my Instagram bio, so all the other teams had trackers. I could see where everyone else was, but I need to borrow other people's phones because my phone didn't have internet. And then she was like, "Who's this weirdo?" Sat down next to her, golf bucket hat on. I mean, the
rest is history.
The rest is history, really.
She's awesome as well.
Yeah, she's awesome. She fell in love with me. I don't blame her. I'm a really good-looking lad. So, she's an amazing girl, and I'm very fortunate. She shares an exact vision of how we expect life.
She's very entrepreneurial as well, isn't she?
She's so good. And she's obviously met you guys, and we share great times together.
We will do next week.
Yeah, we will, yeah. But obviously, just to quickly sign off, we are actively searching for people for this podcast and your garage episodes, aren't we?
Yep.
We've
always
done really well to secure a bit more sponsorship. It costs us a lot of money to run these things.
And shout out to both of them, Castrol and LKQ1 Tech.
And because their enthusiasm behind it is massive, and at times where we probably don't see and probably don't back ourselves as much as what they do.
Well, they took a punt, didn't they?
Yeah, they
both
did.
Of them
took an absolute. And
those people asking at one take about it, so there's plenty of people that, come on the podcast.
Same with Castrol. I mean, Castrol even set at their conference, they set us up a little studio almost. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, so it's really good. So if you're a garage that's interested in allowing us to come around and film at the garage, if you've got something really cool for us to show and talk about, me and Alex would love to come down and do that. And if you'd like to get on the podcast, we are getting people on weekly, I suppose, aren't we, at the minute?
Yeah. It's almost every week.
Yeah, so filming every week, and you could be hosted by all three of us, one of us, two of us.
I'm waiting for you two to do one.
We should get
rid of it. I'm waiting for you to do one.
Okay. Yeah, get out of it.
On that note, we'll do one.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
7 minutes over. That's not too bad, is it?
It's all right.
Thank you all so much for tuning in every couple of weeks and listening. And it does mean a lot. And we are having great fun. Feel very fortunate.
Yes.
So see you on the next one, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.